In this session, K. Vikram, Senior Director, Industry Verticals, Hewlett Packard Enterprise India, will share his knowledge on digital transformation powered by everything as a service.
Thank you for that introduction. Hello, all. And let me start by extending a very warm welcome on behalf of HP to this edition of ET Government National PSU Virtual Summit. I hope all of you are staying indoors, staying safe, and incident free. Uh, these months and the year that's gone by has, in several ways, expedited transformation of the digital kind in many, many ways. And what I will discuss here is primarily how we are playing our roles in our ability to kind of make you handle your data and everything else around the digital transformation in a as a service mode. Moving on, the pace of change has never been faster, as I mentioned earlier. We have, in our own ways, reimagined experiences and our workplaces. Most of the analysts believe that over 80% of the workforce that's gone home is never going to return. And that's the kind of planning being done by organization after organization. It could be a manufacturing organization, it could be a government organization, it could be some of the software firms, so on and so forth. What's also additionally true is the fact that we become a far more distributed enterprise, irrespective of which vertical or segment that we belong to. And more than 80% of the data that we consume is in the video streaming mode, just as you and me are interacting with right now. And analysts believe that what is about around 3.5 to 4 GB right now in 2020 could go upwards 5 times by the time we hit 2024 because of the consumptions that are changing. Just combine that in your own minds with the kind of device intensity that is coming in, because we all know and we're seeing the number of devices that's coming into mainstream, not just our handheld devices, the IoTs, so on and so forth. One of the other things that is very crucial and that's happening, real time, is the fact that the onset of 5G. Over and above the 5 billion devices that are coming in, 5G is supposed to be creating a capability to handle bandwidth exponentially. And with that, you're going to have a lot of data hungry, immersive mobile applications, experiences, and all of this combined with the massive device density, with the added pressure that all of this has to be done at a very, very low latency, is adding to all of the pressure. So these are some of the things that we saw coming for a while, and what we predicted as a vision some years ago, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, is the fact that we knew there was this next wave of digital transformation that was coming. We believed and we predicted that the enterprise of the future was going to be edge-centric, cloud-enabled, and data-driven. Edge is where people, devices, data, and a variety of other things intersect, where we live and work, where personalized connections are made, where new experiences are powered. The intelligent edge is where data is generated, processed, and often real-time or near real-time analysis and actions done, primarily because of the three types of edges. One is the enterprise edge, the other the industrial edge, so on and so forth. Add to that the fact that one has to process data real time and closest to the premise of data is adding to the fact that enterprises of the future have to be deploying their elements of AI, ML, so on and so forth to make their enterprises smarter. Cloud enabled, well, that's a context that we all know of, from a context where we had few people moving to the cloud. So every new application, every new microservice is slowly starting to become cloud native. Of course, this does not mean that you've moved your ERP or your core governance application or your core banking application to the cloud, but nevertheless, there is a big move towards the cloud. And as we see, the many edges, the co-locations, data centers, and clouds all come together to form a sort of a hybrid environment. Data is the heart of everything, right? So what we see and what we hear is the fact that data is going to grow to the extent of about 175 zettabytes by the turn of 2025. That means that there's plenty of this data which is going to be at the edge, and that is going to be needing to be converted to an insight. Data for its plain sake is fine, but as long as it is not any insight or effective information, it goes waste. So what we said we will do is, and as you can see here, there are two parts or three parts to how this data flows. There is massive amounts of data and devices at the edge, and to provide all of these insights, you need to convert the data right at the edge and wherever it is into meaningful information. So most of the work that we are doing today at HP is to make those small fragments incremental sequential steps towards making all of this information that is available at the edge as well as data center, irrespective of the size, shape, and type of data, into constructive information. So we have, over a period of time, developed the right tools, the right models, so to say, to make this whole transformation effective and also reduce the barrier to speed, because data has its own gravity, and where it is used should be closest to where it is created. And hence, in some ways, many of us and many analysts actually call this out to be the last mile problem, because where the data is created is where we would like every organization to consume it, and hence the adjacency of the tools and techniques that we provide and that we have developed. So, enterprises like yourselves and many others will adopt all four of these infrastructure choices. I come, and we all come, many of you who are as ancient as me, come from a world that had a single data center. And then, sometime in the late 90s onwards, we slowly started having a remote presentation ability, and, the edge came into play. We've now evolved to a point where organizations are increasingly deploying a lot of containers, primarily with the objective of having multi-tenancy, so on and so forth. Of course, the microservices also help connect with the customer in a far better way. And of course, the other part is cloud. And as I say, cloud, there are going to be many colors, shapes, and forms of cloud. And cloud is a journey, not a destination, we believe. And hence, optimizing performance and agility, as well as how and what kind of workloads you would move to the cloud, would remain the primacy of purpose. And that is what we do, as you can see from what I'm going to present. So most of the capabilities that HP has built over a period of time are in these following areas and dimensions. We can help transform with cloud agility, migrate applications, workloads to the cloud and back again. We can enable, build a good hybrid cloud. And like I mentioned earlier, since data is expensive both to transfer and egress, we kind of spending our time and bit in modernizing that element of data protection, because where it is created and where it stays in this highly distributed world where data is consumed, you need to modernize your data protection as well. Obviously, all of these experiences are created at the edge. Like I said earlier, there could be an industrial edge where the IoT devices are connecting with your IT systems, or it could be the enterprise edge or the actual edge where people, commerce, and collaboration happens. And these are some of the things that we're doing to kind of get um, this whole context of transformation that is going to be cloud enabled, data driven, a reality. What we've singularly done is that we have now brought together, apart from reducing the entry barriers, we are now gone on to unlock the potential with what we call the unified data operations. We are in many ways reimagining data management and infrastructure, and we have a very, very bold vision when it comes to data and storage. Unified data ops reimagines the data experience for our customers and yourselves hence. This is an approach that actually integrates data-centric policies and automation across the data lifecycle. And in doing so, it kind of eases control and operations and removes the control away from the underlying infra, and in turn delivers cloud agility and SaaS-based data and infrastructure services. And lastly, with AI-driven insights and intelligence to make the infrastructure invisible to the cloud. So in doing so, what we've done is solved many, many problems that the customers normally are encountering today. So firstly, the big thing is we are maximizing value at the intelligent edge. The analyze, act, acquire, analyze, act part, which is seamless set of sequences, can happen real time, and decision making can be extremely local. I mean, just imagine as an example that there was an autonomous car, so you don't need to go back to the cloud and back again, and the decision making can be very much at the end, at the transport end, which is the car. What we're doing additionally is, apart from these autonomous operations, even if there was unreliable connectivity, we ensuring security and compliance, improving operations, and of course, when you're doing all of this, you're going to be increasing the return on investments. What I have here at this point of time is a set of customers from around the world. It doesn't belong to just the government as a industry vertical. It spans many, many customer segments. There are some from the manufacturing and automotive industry. There are some from the telecom industry. There are others from the government itself, so on and so forth, where these customers have worldwide now become our real references uh, in the area of uh, not just AI and ML, but also uh, in the element that all of them are actually consuming IT in many ways as a service, and that is something that we call Green Lake. So the first example here is Porsche Informatic. I'm sure Porsche is a very aspirational brand. So they've been accelerating a lot of application development because they are involved in the area of safe cars, so on and so forth. So to decrease the data center complexity and increasing responsiveness, they've completely signed up with HP GreenLake with a fully managed hybrid cloud environment in which they only pay for what they consume. So in doing so, they have completely avoided elements like over provisioning, under provisioning, rush for resources, so on and so forth. And this is a solution that is compatible both on and off premise data centers, and it's very easy to operate and supports, like I mentioned earlier, virtual machines, containers, so on and so forth. Resources required for each workload are ready to deploy in minutes, unlike what we are experienced with, where we have to stand up a IT system or a project. It takes months. The other one is Nokia. Nokia needs no introduction. Nokia leverages HP GreenLake to operate what they call the VLab in a consumption-based IT model, creating a very manageable and predictable monthly operating expense. Um, what they also do is, the resources are in place to grow as they need with time, and the expense associated with new capital investments. Telecom, as most of you would know, is a very capital intensive business, and what we are doing here is help Nokia add capacity to do everything that they would like to at the time that they want to, in a very, very easy and effective manner. The third example in this is a company called Zen Act. While the name might be new, it's a leading developer of software, and they are an ISV in that sense, but they're leading developer of car software, and more specifically, autonomous car software. And if you've heard of Volvo, this is a joint venture of Volvo that produces the software, and they're based in Europe. They once again use both our AI and ML tools, things like Esmeral as well as HP GreenLake. In doing so, what they've done effectively is they've reduced the entry barriers to their transformation, and that's kind of helped them leapfrog their business, into fourth gear, or the fifth gear, as you would imagine, and getting the business together. The next few examples are a mix of both, uh, financial and banking services, and of course, public sector and government. So, YF Life is a Hong Kong-based company, and they are actually an insurance company in Hong Kong, and they use HP GreenLake services. What they set out to do is to kind of strengthen their online sales platforms, applications, and fintech support systems. And this is precisely the reason they've signed on with HP GreenLake. And what we do is help provide a multi-year, uh, predictable, outcome-based IT across uh, the environments that they are in, across the hybrid environment that they are present in. Moving on, we have a couple of examples from uh, the governance and public sector, um, and more so healthcare. The Canterbury District Health Board, which is based out of New Zealand, has completely automated their health records, and they consume their entire IT, as a service model. Likewise, with Kern Country, which is done something very similar with the governance applications. They've gone into in-premise cloud, but it is delivered in a consumption model. And what happens is the government or the county just pays on a monthly basis for the IT that they consume, and 24 by 7 operations is run by HP there. The last one is, of course, the Saling Group, which is a sporting brand, which also is Denmark's largest retailer. It runs several e-commerce businesses and four retail chains. They have again signed on with GreenLake and with most of all the other things that I mentioned around AI and ML, things like Esmeral, to kind of fortify and use data at where it is at the level of inception, and hence they have a very solid enterprise as a conglomerate. These were some of the examples that I just wanted to kind of relate to, not pick just some plain Indian examples. These are from around the world. These references, and that should give you a reasonable, I guess, fallback to kind of refer from across many of these industry verticals as you pick your choice, as you make your IT plans for the future. Those were some of the comments that I had to make in this short keynote. I hope it was useful. We hope you find this extremely informative, and we look forward to speaking you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vikram, for the precise presentation. Now we'll take a short networking break. Meanwhile, you all can proceed to the expo area and enjoy the useful information shared at the partner booths. Stay tuned.